Ananda walked along the path, his steps heavy with the burden of caregiving. His father's cries echoed in his mind. Each day brought new demands. Yet no gratitude softened the harshness of his father's words. Despair gripped his heart as he approached the grove where the Buddha taught. The Blessed One sat serenely, surrounded by disciples, his gaze calm and inviting. Ananda hesitated but finally knelt before the Buddha, his hands trembling. "Blessed One, my heart is torn," Ananda began softly. "I care for my father, but his anger cuts deeply." The Buddha looked at him with infinite compassion, nodding slowly. "Ananda, tell me of your pain," he said in a gentle voice. Ananda recounted his struggles, the sleepless nights, the harsh words, and the weight of his responsibilities. "Why does my love bring such suffering?" Ananda asked, tears falling freely. The Buddha listened intently, then spoke, his words measured and clear. "Ananda, compassion is a path filled with trials. Yet it leads to the highest peace," he began. "Your pain arises not from your love, but from your attachment to how it is received." Ananda looked confused, so the Buddha continued with a story. "Long ago, a king sought to create the most fragrant garden in his land," he began. He ordered his servants to plant a grove of sandalwood trees, known for their sweet scent. True wealth lies not in coins or lands but in the bonds nurtured through understanding, love, and selflessness. The eldest brother returned to his family, his heart enlightened by the hermit's counsel and his spirit longing for peace. The wood was stolen, leaving only stumps. The king, enraged, went to see the devastation for himself. The disciples listened quietly, captivated by the tale. As he approached the grove, the air was filled with the fragrance of sandalwood, the Buddha said, his voice serene. Even in its destruction, the tree offered its perfume freely, untroubled by anger or loss. Ananda's eyes widened as the Buddha's meaning began to dawn on him. "Be like the sandalwood tree, Ananda," the Buddha advised. "Offer your care freely, without attachment to gratitude or resentment." Ananda lowered his gaze, tears welling up once more. But this time they were tears of understanding. "But how, Blessed One?" he whispered. The Buddha smiled gently, gesturing for Ananda to sit beside him. "Begin by understanding the nature of suffering," he said. "Meditation will guide you to see beyond your pain." The moon rose slowly as the Buddha led Ananda and the disciples into a deep meditation. "Close your eyes and breathe," the Buddha instructed, his voice soothing like a river's flow. "Feel the weight of your pain and hold it without judgment." The soft murmur of the stream nearby harmonized with the tranquil rustling of leaves swaying in the gentle breeze. Among those who came seeking answers was a villager named Mala, her face a canvas of worry and fatigue. The mud cannot stain the lotus. Ananda saw the image vividly in his mind, the lotus pure and radiant despite the dark waters surrounding it. "Now, let go of the need for recognition," the Buddha said. "Give as the sun gives its light, freely and abundantly." Ananda's heart felt lighter as he embraced the vision, his pain beginning to dissolve into a calm clarity. "Compassion does not seek repayment," the Buddha said softly. "True compassion is its own reward, a balm for the giver's heart." The disciples meditated together, the grove silent except for the sounds of the night. Hours passed like moments as Ananda felt his perspective shift. When the Buddha finally spoke again, his voice was like the dawn breaking over the horizon. "Rise, Ananda," he said gently. "Carry this wisdom into your caregiving, and you will find peace." Ananda opened his eyes, his heart no longer burdened by expectations or resentment. "Thank you, Blessed One," he said, bowing deeply, his voice steady and reverent. The Buddha smiled, his eyes radiating compassion and understanding. "Remember, Ananda, the lotus blooms in the mud, yet remains unstained," the Buddha reminded him. so too will you find purity amidst life's challenges. Ananda rose and departed, his steps no longer weighed down, his heart light with newfound clarity. As he walked back to his father's side, Ananda carried not only care but also peace. The grove remained silent, the Buddha seated beneath the Bodhi tree, his presence a beacon of wisdom. The disciples watched in awe, their hearts touched by the teachings they had witnessed. And thus, the lesson of compassion without attachment echoed through the lives of all who heard it. Another day, the sun climbed over the hills, casting its golden rays on the Sangha. Nanda carried a bowl of rice to the bedside of an ill monk. His hands steady but his heart heavy. The monk turned away from him, coughing and groaning, rejecting the food Nanda had prepared with care. Anger bubbled within Nanda as the monk's bitterness gnawed at his patience. His frustration simmered as he stepped outside, seeking solace in the morning breeze. Nanda wandered through the grove, his thoughts troubled, until he came upon the Buddha sitting beneath the Bodhi tree. The Blessed One's presence was calming, his serene gaze drawing Nanda closer. Nanda bowed deeply, his turmoil evident in his expression and voice. Blessed One, I struggle with my duties. The ill monk grows bitter, and my patience wanes, Nanda confessed, his tone strained. The Buddha gestured for Nanda to sit, his gentle demeanor inviting honesty and reflection. Nanda, speak of the thoughts in your heart, the Buddha said, his voice a soothing balm. Nanda recounted his struggles, describing the monk's irritability and how it mirrored his growing resentment. Why does my care bring such turmoil? Nanda asked, his frustration mingling with despair. The Buddha listened intently, then spoke, his words steady and clear like a flowing stream. Nanda, caregiving is a mirror reflecting the state of your own heart, he began. What you see in another often lives within you. Nanda's eyes widened in surprise, unsure of the Buddha's meaning but intrigued by his wisdom. The Buddha paused, his gaze calm and penetrating. Before sharing a story, long ago, two travelers came upon a pond surrounded by trees and flowers, he began. One remarked on the beauty of the scene, while the other complained of mosquitoes. Nanda leaned in, captivated by the Buddha's words, eager to understand the lesson hidden in the tale. Each traveler saw what their heart held, beauty or discomfort, the Buddha explained. So too does caregiving reveal what dwells within you. Nanda's face softened as he pondered the story, his frustration mingling with newfound understanding. But Blessed One, how do I cleanse my heart of anger and resentment? Nanda asked. The Buddha smiled gently, gesturing to the bowl of water beside him. Look into this water, Nanda. What do you see? He asked. My reflection, Nanda replied, his voice tentative. When the water is disturbed, the reflection becomes unclear, the Buddha said. But when it is still, your image appears pure. Nanda gazed at the water, watching his reflection shift as the surface settled into calmness. Purify your heart, Nanda, by embracing the suffering of others with empathy, the Buddha said, his voice resonant with wisdom. Do not let their bitterness disturb your inner peace. The grove fell silent as the Buddha led Nanda and the disciples into a meditation. Close your eyes and breathe, the Buddha instructed, his voice soothing like the rustle of leaves. See the suffering in the ill monk's heart and hold it with compassion, not resentment. Nanda obeyed, his breathing steadying as he followed the Buddha's guidance, his anger beginning to dissolve. Picture your heart as a calm pond, the Buddha continued. Let the bitterness of others settle like the ripples fading away. Nanda visualized the calm pond, his thoughts quieting, his emotions finding balance and peace. Compassion does not judge. It does not seek to change others but to embrace them as they are, the Buddha said softly. Hours passed, the grove wrapped in silence. The disciples united in meditation under the watchful presence of the Buddha. When the Buddha finally spoke again, His voice was gentle yet firm, like the earth beneath their feet. "Rise, Nanda," he said, his gaze steady. "Let this wisdom guide you as you care for the ill monk." Nanda opened his eyes, his heart lighter, his perspective transformed by the teachings he had received. "Thank you, Blessed One," he said, bowing deeply, his voice steady and reverent. The Buddha smiled, his eyes shining with compassion and understanding. "Remember, Nanda, the pond reflects the purity within," the Buddha reminded him. "When your heart is still, peace will remain." Nanda rose and departed, his steps lighter, his resolve strengthened by the Buddha's wisdom. As he returned to the ill monk's side, Nanda carried not only care but also empathy and peace. The grove remained tranquil, the Buddha seated beneath the Bodhi tree, his presence a beacon of wisdom and compassion. The disciples watched in silence, their hearts touched by the teachings they had witnessed. And thus, the lesson of self-reflection and compassion resonated through the lives of all who heard it. Another day, the Sangha gathered beneath the Bodhi tree, the air thick with anticipation and the fragrance of blooming flowers. Ananda and Nanda stood side by side, their hearts lightened by the lessons they had learned. The Buddha sat serenely, his eyes scanning the assembly, his presence like a calm river in the midst of a storm. The disciples awaited his words, their minds open and eager for the wisdom he would share. The Buddha began, his voice clear and steady. "Caregiving is a path of virtue, yet it is not without its challenges," he said. "Today, I will speak of the lotus, a symbol of purity and resilience. Adversity is not a foe to be conquered, but a test of resilience and the bonds we create. In hardship, let service be your beacon, and hope be your guide." In a distant village, there lived a farmer who tended a pond filled with lotuses. The Buddha began. This pond was his pride, a place where the most beautiful lotuses bloomed, their fragrance enchanting all who passed. And so, the teachings of the Buddha continued to spread, reaching far beyond Jetavana and into the hearts of countless souls searching for peace amidst uncertainty. The farmer despaired, believing his beloved lotuses destroyed, their beauty lost forever. Ananda and Nanda listened intently, their own hearts reflecting the farmer's despair in their past struggles. As the days passed, the sun's gentle rays warmed the pond, and the lotuses began to rise above the murk. The Buddha said, "Despite the storm, their petals remained untouched, their purity untainted by the mud below." The Buddha's words settled over the disciples like a soothing balm, their hearts opening to the lesson within. The lotus teaches us that purity and peace are not found by avoiding the mud but by rising above it. The Buddha explained, "Caregiving is like tending the lotus. It is an act of nurturing life amidst the mud of suffering." Nanda bowed his head, the memory of his struggles with resentment vivid but no longer painful. "Blessed One, how can we ensure that our hearts, like the lotus, remain untainted by the mud?" Nanda asked. The Buddha smiled gently, his gaze resting on Nanda. "By practicing mindfulness, Nanda," he said. "Mindfulness is the sunlight that guides the lotus, helping it rise above the murk." The Buddha then led the assembly into a meditation, his voice a guiding light for those seeking clarity. "Close your eyes and breathe," the Buddha instructed. "Feel the weight of your challenges but do not let them anchor you." Ananda focused on his breath, his mind recalling the peaceful clarity he had found in the Buddha's previous teachings. "Imagine the challenges you face as the mud below," the Buddha continued. "They are there, but they cannot reach your heart." The grove grew still as the disciples meditated, their minds quieting under the Buddha's guidance. "Now, picture your heart as a lotus," the Buddha said. "Let it rise, untouched by the suffering surrounding it." Ananda and Nanda visualized the lotus, their hearts lifting with each breath, their burdens dissolving into the stillness of the moment. Compassion is the nourishment of the lotus, the Buddha said softly. It allows the heart to bloom, even in the darkest waters. Hours passed, the grove silent except for the sounds of nature. The disciples united in their meditation. When the Buddha spoke again, his voice was gentle, yet it resonated with a profound truth. Rise, my disciples, he said, his eyes filled with compassion. Carry the wisdom of the lotus into your lives, and you will find peace. Ananda and Nanda opened their eyes, their hearts filled with a deep understanding that transcended their previous struggles. Blessed One, your teachings have transformed our hearts, Ananda said. Bowing deeply, the Buddha smiled, his expression one of infinite kindness and serenity. Remember, the lotus blooms not despite the mud but because of it, the Buddha reminded them. So too will you find strength and purity amidst life's challenges. The disciples dispersed, their hearts lightened, their minds clear, each carrying the Buddha's wisdom into their lives. The grove remained tranquil, the Buddha seated beneath the Bodhi tree, his presence a beacon of peace and compassion. And thus, the lesson of the lotus, a symbol of purity and resilience, echoed through the lives of all who heard it. The desert, he continued, seems barren, yet it sustains life hidden beneath its surface. So does the spirit in solitude. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.